Listen, ice type is great. Love my cold fam out there. But ice would be just a touch better if perhaps it were like normal. Okay, so there are a million type combinations in Pokemon and a very large percentage of them have been used up. But there are some that just haven't been touched. Now, I don't know if this is for any particular reason, like maybe it just doesn't make sense to have a bug dragon type. God, Game Freak, why not? I think it's only fair that I go in and just see how some of these unused type combos could work. So let's just do that. Let's do just that. I'm gonna do that now. So I want a normal ice type because literally why would that exist? We have plenty of normal ice creatures and they don't have the normal type. I searched Google for some sick ass inspiration. I pretty much got what I expected, except in the see more anyway section, which is always a bad thing to click. I found some really out there stuff. If you could call it that. Anyways, ice cubes for inspiration, I guess. Except maybe that isn't truly terrible of a concept. So I'm thinking something along the lines of execute and that one where they're marching in a line. What is it called? Phalanx. That's it. God, what a forgettable Pokemon. Sorry, Phalanx fans. I'm also probably mispronouncing it. I started things off super strong. We got Cube and Cube 2, and then before I knew it, Cube 3. I also wasn't using a perspective grid, so oops, they look way off, but I have a way to salvage this. I want to make an ice train. So not quite like the Snowpiercer, which is technically an ice train of sorts. No, I'm thinking like, what if we had some happy little ice cubes, except for this one, which is melting away into oblivion. And then we had like the actual creature, or I guess the brains of the creature, be the water that's moving it along, like a little train. Does that mean this thing is actually a water ice type? Well, no. Why, you ask? Because it's my video. Next question. My water-based creature, which puts the normal in normal type, has got a Zygarde cell thing going on with its face. It's just without thoughts, you know, slithering aimlessly into its next destination. Also, you see how I fixed the perspective, or I guess fixed my shoddy perspective job? I'm pretty good like that, honestly. Okay, I put in some color, made the ice parts shine quite a lot, and then the finishing touch. Cute little faces. So I guess the ice is one part of the creature's sentience, and then the water is just another, if you could call that thing sentient. Alright, we are picking a type for the next fakemon. I'm looking at you, ground fairy. I have big plans for you. So, have you ever heard of the pygmy rabbit? You know, the tiniest creature. They look like this and are single-handedly the most adorable creature on this entire planet. You might be thinking, Kaifa, you have the most adorable cats in the world. How could you possibly mean this? Well, I have news for you. My cats aren't simply creatures, but instead gods. This tangent is going nowhere. I had a lot of fun designing this little guy. It's nice to just go back to the basics sometimes and create a fun little rodent ? Are rabbits rodents? Okay, so they were considered to be rodents up until 1912, which was a long time ago. So the answer is no. So rabbits bore holes into the ground to nest. It's very common practice among a wide array of rabbit species, except maybe not a pet rabbit. At least I hope you're not letting your pet rabbit live in the ground. I used to live in rural New Zealand, which basically meant my hometown had one singular street and no Wi-Fi. Couldn't play Pokemon Go. It was truly the end of the world for me. Something I did see a lot of, however, were rabbits. Sometimes you'd be driving at night, turn a corner, and there's just hundreds of them just staring back at you. A terrifying sight, to be honest. My friend loves bunnies and owns one, and they have roasted me in the past for my rabbit-based fakemon, so I'm working extra hard to make sure this one actually looks good. And honestly, I think I'm doing a good job. It is very cute. It has little floaty bits that trail off when it hops around. Why? Because it's a cutie patootie, that's why. The color palette is just a clay brown and then just pink fuzzy parts. Kinda uninspired, kind of just like Baneri really, but I think they look good together, so it's not all bad. Now for the one that I have been personally waiting for, a rock ghost type. Oh yeah. Strange how we actually don't have one yet. Why is that? I would have thought that there was like at least one Pokemon that could have been a good candidate for this typing by now. The Golett line, they're literally begging for it. I know, because I've heard their pleas in Game Freak's office. Source, I made it up. Now, I was going to do an original Fakemon here, but I kind of felt like making an evolution to an existing Pokemon, so that's just where I'm at right now. I'm clawing my way through my tried and true status quo. We should rename the channel to just Kaifa forms, you know? But honestly, no one's been complaining, so I'm assuming you're all rocking with my forms, convergence, evolutions, and such. So here's another one. Now, Geodude has an evolution already, which is Graveler, but like, imagine if Geodude just dropped dead. What would it be then? We kind of saw this happen with Primeape and Annihilape, and even, I guess, Galarian, Corsola, and Cursula. So Geodude could be quite cool, especially considering bones are often what's left of a body when it's buried in the ground. I think it would be a cool way to blend the rock and ghost typings into one design. I sort of went hard on the medieval inspiration. That's medieval, MEDIEVIL, by the way, and in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, there was this one game on the PlayStation 1, yes, I'm that old, and it's called Medieval, and you just play as like a skull guy. That's all I remember. We actually had the second game growing up, and I distinctly remember the skull being on a hand on the box art, so that's how I eventually got to Geodude. Right, so now we've come to trying to incorporate the arms and fists into this design. At this stage, I was actually designing a regional form, and then it turned into a convergent, so it was actually really tricky because I was trying to make it look similar to Geodude, but then when I thought of it being an actual evolution, I stopped in my tracks and gave it lockjaw. Good luck closing that mouth, buddy. After softly restarting my design, I thought perhaps we could give this little guy a ponytail. I was sort of thinking about Rhyme in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because she's got some sick skeleton here. I wish I actually referred to it in the sketch because honestly, I struggled, and even in the end, it's not the greatest looking hairpiece, if you could call it that. So perhaps it's something I need to fix in the polish. Regardless, we have some pocket monsters to look at, all with unused types. Firstly, for show and tell, I want to show you my beloved ice train, Locust Notive, a normal and ice type. It has a new ability called Ice Trail. It works similarly to Effect Spore and Static in that it will pass on a status condition, being the frozen condition. However, it will only pass it on to Pokemon on the opposing team who like switch out in the battlefield during battles while Locust Notive is in the battlefield. I hope I explained that right. Also, it doesn't have 100% chance because that would be terribly broken. Next, it is the cutest little thing on Planet Pokemon, Fatola, a ground and fairy type. This little rabbit has the ability Pixel Stomp. This ability allows Fatola to get a stab boost on rock and fighting type moves. It doesn't know very many of those moves, and I can't really think of which moves they are on the top of my head, but you know, it gets that little boost regardless. And lastly, we have our terrifying friend, Geodude, a rock ghost type and the evolved form of Geodude. Okay, the evolution method is a little tricky, let me explain. It evolves into Geodude upon level up once Geodude is knocked out at least 20 times in battle. If the Geodude in question is level 25 or more, it will need to hold an item called a lagging tail to bypass the Graveler evolution. Kind of an inaccessible evolution, but I think some evolutions these days are crazy enough for this one to be just about plausible. Alrighty, here they are, my Fakemon that use unused type combos. Do you like? Gotta tell me in the comments, otherwise I'll never know. Thank you so much for watching my video. Remember to subscribe. I upload new videos every single Friday or Saturday or Sunday because it is a very busy month for me. So yeah, I really appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.